Welcome to INS, the International News Service, your source for the most important weird news from across the globe. With news analyst Kevin Harrison, actor, comedian, and musician Mike Wiebe, and professional commentator Brian Camp. INS, the news you need.
I don't like a really dry cheddar. I don't like crumbly cheese that much.
So you don't no cottage cheese for Brian.
Oh, I love cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese is disgusting.
Cottage cheese is delicious and it's good for you.
It's not. It's like fucking wet.
People are super divisive on cottage cheese.
It looks like fucking pus. It looks like pus.
Delicious pus.
It doesn't taste like it. It's less sweet than pus.
What does pus taste like, Brian?
It's like a sweet kind of syrup. It's like Karo syrup with milk in it, like milk and Karo, and maybe
curdled milk.
Yeah, like to the consistency of a sour cream.
This is going to come up in a story, actually.
Well, the prophecy is fulfilled. So, no, cottage cheese is good.
I love going to the salad bar.
Yeah,
you know, you put your salad together, you put a little scoop of cottage chease on the side.
I don't.
Oh yeah, you don't mix it with anything. It's gotta be by itself.
No, it doesn't mix.
I'm never eating a salad bar again. I don't think anything good comes from a salad bar. I think they're the hub of germs.
Yeah, speaking of pus, right?
Yeah.
Think of all the people who drip in those things.
Yeah, with their dicks too. They've got the clap and they're buck naked.
They come in on their
buck
stilts.
naked, standing over the salad bar. They've got the drip.
These guys coming in wearing their skirts on stilts.
Yeah,
I read somewhere. I think they call it the drip is clap, right?
I believe so. Yeah,
which is also I think hammerhead. Have you ever heard it called hammerhead?
Ooh, you're the only one that's ever told me about hammerhead. Tell them about hammerhead. We should have used this on the last episode, but
I don't. That's all I know is that it's called that.
What is called hammerhead?
The clap. I think you get.
Okay.
No, used to talk about hammerhead.
I don't think so.
Yes, you did. You used to talk about hammerhead. That your dick would swell up so much that you'd have to take a hammer and pop the end of it to get it to put the pus to shoot out.
I might have said I don't think.
And I don't know if you made that up, but even if you did, it's still horrifying.
I don't think that's me. I like it though. I'm going to claim it now.
No, it was you. It was for sure you.
So much pus collects in the head of your dick.
Yes,
that you have to smash it
on a thing. You have to smash it with a hammer to get it to shoot out. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, hey, that's probably not real. But it doesn't even matter. Because the image of having to do that is so disturbing that it stuck with me for 30 years.
Under the Wikipedia for gonorrhea, it says it's colloquially known as the clap, but it doesn't say anything about hammerhead.
Wasn't Jay Leno in an episode of Good Times and he had gonorrhea in the clinic?
I don't think I ever watched Good
You
Times.
never watched Good Times, man?
Yeah.
Good Times was great.
It was syndicated.
Lucky we got them. A good times. Good Times is filmed in front of a live studio
The only
audience.
good thing Norman Fell ever did. Yeah, no, Leno was on there, and he was. I think Michael was. No, maybe it was JJ. JJ and Michael had to go for something, and it was a very, very like of that era kind of special episode where it was in between all the hijinks.
Yeah,
there was a lesson about not being ashamed to get what at the time was called VD checked out at the clinic.
Yeah.
And then they changed to STD. And I think VD sounds way cooler. So
yeah.
I don't know why they ever got away from that.
Because Valentine's Day.
No, you're right. The massacre, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Man, Good Times was a crazy show in that, Jimmy Walker was so famous for one of those weird famouses where he was the most famous person in the world for like 1 year or 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there was definitely like a big eras. There was the growth, but I feel like at some point he just wasn't famous anymore.
He wasn't as famous.
Well, yeah, but was he famous the same way that Gallagher was famous? Only in that there was a beginning of the time, like the curly haired blonde man. there was a beginning of a time when that his humor was going to be well regarded, and then a definite end of a time when his humor was going to be well regarded, and there was no hope for, like, unless he changed his act entirely. Like, it's I can watch the laugh track tells me it's funny. But didn't that character? I thought that was his act, though. They made into a character. Am I wrong? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he was a stand-up, but I don't know what his stand-up was like, really.
Yeah, he still does stand-up.
He still does stand-up, and Letterman always never stopped having him on. He was on Letterman once every 2 years or so, up until the end, probably. But, like, end of Letterman. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just a thing of, like, Urkel, you know? Like, not that Urkel was the most famous person in the world, but, you know, there was a year there where Urkel was, like... I remember B. Arthur introducing him at the Golden Globes as the person who gave ABC, like, who, like, completely raised the share points of Urkel was so popular and was drawing in so many people, it, like, changed ABC for a year.
That's crazy.
Did I do that?
I guess anytime you're famous enough that if Spencer's has shirts about you for a while, maybe that's the level of famous.
So, like, you're talking hair metal famous.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a different category. Spencer's they're always going to carry, you know, Motley Crue shirts.
I bet they don't carry them today.
Ooh, I bet you can get a Megadeth shirt. I bet there's one Spencer's in Texas you can get a Megadeth shirt at.
You can definitely still get Metallica shirts there.
Oh, wow. You absolutely can get all of that. I just was there recently, and they have every bad 80s hair metal band or great hair, whatever you want to look at it. They're all there.
You were on location at a Spencer's?
Yes. Special report.
Doing an investigation.
Were you getting a black light and some sexy dice?
Yeah, they do have some sex toys there now.
Yeah. They always did. They always had a little sex toy.
Some novelties.
I mean, not like actual... More like sex games. It was like
there's full on dildos there now.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. At the mall?
At the mall, yeah.
Did they? I wonder if they have it in the Denton Golden Triangle Mall.
So I looked this up. I just Googled Motley Crue shirt, and I got a Motley Crue poster, a Motley Crue shirt. It was called, an Alistair Motley Crue shirt, a Girls Motley Crue shirt, and a Shout at the Devil Motley Crue shirt. So Brian wins this round.
Oh, well, feels pandering. I don't know why. I don't like it.
Isn't it weird that Tom Cruise has a brother named Motley?
So, welcome to the International News Service. We're your hosts. I'm Kevin Harrison, along with...
I'm Brian Camp.
I'm Motley Crue. And hair metal historian, the man who has lived his life like there's no tomorrow.
True.
Down on the Sunset Strip. He's been to every strip club in Hollywood, California. Girls, all the way down to Cheetahs, all the way down to Dr. Zog's Sex Wax Emporium. Mark Ryan.
Hey, everybody. I do like shopping.
Mark's
be shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, we've got 2 news stories, an arts and culture story, and then Mike has a news story in Get to Know Your Podcast.
Indeed, I do. Let me keep talking while I make sure it's queued up. So it's not going to... No, I'm not like looking for it. I just want to make sure my bars are in a row.
This is how every teacher has felt with you in their class.
No, I have it right here. I'm looking. I
got to go to my locker.
I wanted to get my bars in a row because I'm going from this page to this page to this page. I have it all laid out the way I want it to because I'm a goddamn fucking professional.
Are you going to tease the story?
I will tease. Hopefully, all of you guys listened to the last episode. If you didn't, go back and listen to it immediately, where we had guest Ashley Sharman talking about medical oddities. Mm-hmm. This week's Get to Know Your Podcast, we are tying the idea of the medical oddity in with a story that's a little bit weird, having to do with UFOs.
Ooh, we're going to get to these stories quick because I'm excited.
I'm on pins and needles.
So our first story comes to us from the Dallas Morning News.
Oh, DMN.
Recently, a city of Dallas...
Not the Dallas Times Herald Classified?
No, it's been closed for...
748-1414. Call 748-1414. Get results like you've never seen before.
Used to be a radio jingle.
Yeah, no. There was an animated television commercial.
Was it?
Call
This is all before my time.
748-1414. Man, if there might be one person who could listen to this podcast.
Yeah, there is.
That would find that delightful. The rest of you, sorry.
If you could find some way to work in the Trophy Nissan song someday, just not right now. But
yeah, it'll come up at some point naturally.
Western Warehouse.
Yeah.
So recently, the city of Dallas launched a health initiative for its 13,000 employees called the Well-Being First campaign. It's not very well named. Well-Being First. In order to promote the initiative, the city gave goodie bags to all their employees that contained a cooling towel, a pamphlet with tips on nutrition and fitness, and a massager with the initiative's logo on it. Now, the city of Dallas is getting complaints because employees are saying the massager looks like a vibrator. The head of the Dallas Firefighters Association said, quote, "It's very clear what it is and what it's for, and I don't think it should be distributed to city employees," before adding, quote, "Our members want to know why it was approved to send sex toys to every fire station." Dallas's deputy city manager said the goodie bags were provided by Blue Cross Blue Shield and that people, quote, "need to get their mind out of the gutter."
Well, was it Blue Cross Blue Shield or Blue Balls Blue Shield?
If you got something here to help you out, you know.
Yeah, see?
Well, and for the listener, let's remind them, Kevin, that this is the same city that both had then tore down a statue of a mind flayer. So
yeah,
I'd hate for us to let him mention Dallas.
Well, I guess it did happen. Yeah. I forgot about that. She also explained, quote, "If you're sitting at your desk working all day and you can't get away, you use it for massaging your neck or your feet or other parts of your body that might be aching."
Throbbing even.
That's an actual quote, by the way.
But it's a dildo. It's
like a little mini travel vibrator. It's got different heads that you can attach to it.
I mean, I definitely have never seen one that was intended for anything other than sticking up your batty hole, or you know, a lady's front batty hole.
She said that anyone troubled by getting a massager can file a grievance or reach out to her office to express concerns.
Why do people care? This is a very confusing one.
My first question is, when did fucking firemen become fucking losers?
Well, that's a good question.
I mean, firemen are the ones that are like, oh no,
yeah,
like firemen are supposed to be big fucking tough guys. They'll, you know, either they're masculine enough to try it on themselves, or they're use it on their supple lady wives.
Right. You know, I if they're bothered by this, I don't trust them to run into a burning building.
Right. Like what do they think is going to happen?
I don't think that. I bet as one square fireman. I know a lot of firemen.
Yeah.
I know one fireman, and I don't think
they're called firefighters. Actually,
I know one firefighter, and he wouldn't have a problem with this. And if I know one, then I probably know even more that I just don't know that I know.
You know a lot of people.
I know tons.
Some of them have to be firefighters.
And every single person I know is pro vibrator.
Right. Yeah, it does seem like a real square thing you're right, Mike, for a firefighter especially to be up in arms about.
Like, I get it if it was like, we gave these to all these managers of Hobby Lobbies and then they got upset. But like,
or like if your angle was, why are we spending money on this? But it sounds like there was no money spent from the city on this, right? That it was,
Well, Blue Cross Blue Shield provides the insurance for the city, and so I think that they provided this as part of that package, is what it sounded like.
I bet everybody's deductibles 2 cents higher now because of it. People are outraged.
Blue Balls Blue Shield. I say we sue them for being too sexy.
Sexy. This gift bag is too sexy.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, it will come back if, like, on our last episode, sounds like a lot of those things could end up getting stuck in people's rectums.
Right.
Damn near killed them.
If that was a complaint. But no, I mean, that's if this was maybe the firefighter is also a paramedic, and the paramedic side of this firefighter is saying these are of a size that they're going to get lodged and lost in people's rectums.
Damn near killed them.
And that's every time. Funny.
So let's say you get a gift bag.
Oh, I don't.
And it has a vibrator in it, and your mom's picking you up from the job fair, and you're like, she's like, "What did you get in your goodie bag?" And do you show her or not?
Do I show it to her?
Well, you're going through it, and you're going, "Oh, I got this towel, and I got this whole thing," and you look, there's one more thing, and then you look down, and you're like, "Oh, that's a vibrator."
What? How old am I?
14. It's better if you're 14.
Have I just been denied going to a party that I really wanted to go to?
Yeah, whatever. Your imaginary party.
You just got back from the aforementioned Golden Triangle Mall where your mom would not let you buy a copy of, I think maybe Public Domain was out then.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say the Anarchist Cookbook, maybe.
Right. Yeah, at Walden Books. They had one copy.
I need you to go up and ask them. So it's behind the counter. It's behind the counter. You can only get it from behind the counter.
But don't make the nitroglycerin because it'll kill you. That's what everybody said.
Yes, I would pull it out and say, "Hey, Mom, do you know what this is? Because maybe if you used it, you wouldn't be such a fucking bitch all the time."
We lost her on the Patreon.
That's you. This is a much younger version of me now. I don't think I would even show. I don't even think I would. I wouldn't say that now. You asked about a much less evolved Mike Wiebe.
Yeah,
right.
Our next story comes to us from Fox Business.
Oh, Fox Business. So escaping dogs and
like going to hen houses. Yeah, making friends with basset hounds,
tricking farmers.
As we know, Brian is a big fan of hot dogs, as long as they don't have ketchup on them. Yeah. Now, Brian is literally in for a real treat since the Oscar Mayer Company announced in late August that it would start selling what it calls cold dogs or hot dog flavored popsicles. Cold dogs were originated with the company's social media campaign called Stupid or Genius, where thousands of hot dog fans voted to say hot dog flavored popsicles were genius. The cold dog itself resembles a hot dog colored popsicle topped with a mustard swirl, and it reportedly has the, quote, smoky umami notes of Oscar Mayer's iconic wieners.
Umami?
Umami notes.
Way to dress it up. I like that.
Well, that was from their literature. They also capitalized wiener for some reason.
Well, it's a proper name.
Like Anthony.
Dr. Tifa?
No, Anthony Weiner. It's funny because his last name was Weiner, and he got in trouble. He got in trouble for showing his wiener. This was a while back.
He did it a few times, yeah. Did he do it more? He did it more than once.
Yeah, he did it more than once.
I know there's a little more to this, Kevin, but this is like I'm curious if you guys have like I've known of people, and I've known people, and I think it's like older people that eat hot dogs out of the fridge cold all the time.
Yeah.
Like eating a cold dog. Because they're already cooked.
Right.
It's just slurry in a nitrate suit. Just
eat it. God.
I feel like I did that when I was a kid when some older person was like,
no,
here, have a cold hot dog. But in the last, let's say, 40 years, that has not occurred in my life.
Yeah, the texture's probably different. Probably more
of making me gag. This is not
more
good.
Of a gush, more of a gushiness when you bite into it. A real gush. Well, I mean, you got to get your nitrate somehow, and if you don't have a microwave, then
that's why I just take vitamin N to get mine. That is, that's got to be just like a weird, like, it's a joke. They made that as a joke, and it probably tastes real gross, and nobody buys it. But it's still, you get a lot of attention for making a thing that's so disgusting that no one would ever eat. It's just a joke.
Well, so for now, cold dogs are available only in New York City, Atlanta, New Orleans, and Long Beach, California.
Where do you get them, though? The
one review I found, they had it at a Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, but I think they're mostly available at some kind of popsicle location in those.
Yeah, they probably got 5 at every location, and they're probably only ever going to sell 2 of them. And it's a dare. It's a whole, like, they probably bet a fucking bunch of whack pack morning DJs go down there and go, who's going to try the hopsicle dog? You want to try a hot dogsicle? Who's going to have a dogsicle in order to get tickets to go see Foghat down at the Climate Change Arena?
They're sold for $2 at a place called Pop Bar.
Pop bar.
Pop
Pop bar. How much
Pop
are they
bar.
selling for?
$2 each.
It's a deal. In these inflationary times, there's
That is
never
a
been a
deal.
better way to get all your nitrates in one sitting.
This isn't a real thing. This is a joke. This is
Well, what if it catches on?
essentially this is electing Carrie to be fucking the prom queen. You know, this is a cruel joke. A cruel joke
A plate on who?
Yeah.
On hot dogs?
on the American public. On the American public.
Is this all about setting hot dogs for the big fall?
It might be.
You thought you were a tasty treat.
It might be.
So
All
the
right.
one review I could find online said both, quote, it's creamier than I expected, and, quote, I don't think I'd try this again.
That's anecdotal. That's just one person. I can't
That's
spell the doom of dogsicles forever.
So, Brian, if we are if we were able to procure one of these, would you eat one
Ooh.
on
I
the
wouldn't
podcast?
trust something you presented to me as a dogsicle. If I knew the source,
I would. It would have to be the whatever wrapper
yeah. If it was,
that they come in.
if it had its safety seal on it, yeah, I would eat it. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna have to call in some.
You're gonna call the big wigs down at Oscar Mayer. You're gonna call in some favors.
I'll call some people in Atlanta and maybe get them to send me the same kind of dry ice container they ship human hearts in.
This reminds me, as we're talking about a new flavor, a new fantastic flavor breaking through into the American cultural market.
Yes.
At Ice Paradise, do you remember all the kids that would ask for pickle?
Pickle? Yes.
Was that-
pickle flavored?
That was a flavor that you offered when you were at
We
when
did
you guys
no,
worked
we
at-
did
did
not
not,
offer.
but they wanted
we did
it.
Not
They-
offer. They wanted it.
They wanted it.
They have that at Sonic actually every summer.
This was a long time ago.
Yes.
Sadly,
Those
At
kids
Ice
are
Paradise.
all old and beaten down by life now.
yeah.
When we did not have, since we didn't have pickle, I was always prompt to offer them a little drink that we made up called the Morbid Elixir.
And what was that?
There's only one ingredient that matters in the morbid elixir:
Sugar-free
sugar-free
root beer.
Ooh, it's the worst.
So
Oh,
would you eat Brian, if it was available
Yep.
and you were
Uh-huh.
going past a snow cone stand, would you eat hot dog flavored snow cones? Yes or no?
yeah. I mean, again, it would have to be. It couldn't be some homemade bullshit.
Right. No, it says extra nitrates right on the label.
Sure, if it went through market testing, as I'm sure it has with Oscar Mayer, and it's been, and the FDA's ruled on it, and I know it's a safe product to consume, then absolutely. I'm not going to let somebody throw a hot dog in a blender and put some ice in it
Okay.
and have me eat that. That's gross.
Want to throw my hot dog hard in a blender, watch it spill around to a beautiful oblivion. Rendezvous and I'm through with you.
So, Mike, what would be your acceptable? Because obviously you're disgusted by this. What would be your acceptable savory popsicle?
I mean, anything that's not meat related.
Okay, like a mushroom sickle. That's not meat.
I would have a weed flavored, a cannabis strain would be pretty cool.
That has to exist somewhere.
Probably. Honestly, I'm a basic. Here's the best popsicle of all time. Bomb Pop, red, white, blue.
Yeah, pretty good.
You know the best thing about the Bomb Pop though is it took so much longer to eat. Like the other kids finished their ice cream like 15 minutes ago, and you still got like 2/3 of a Bomb Pop.
Yeah, Bomb Pops are the best popsicles of all time.
And push-ups are a scam. People that think push-ups are good, or you hardly get anything.
Yeah. You know, both push-ups and Bomb Pops look like something you could shove into your rectum and damn near kill them.
Mike still hasn't gotten over last week.
Yeah. Well, he's been thinking about it.
I've been thinking about it.
Do you guys, this is,
okay,
since now we're on the subject of popsicles and frozen treats, this is very specific to a very small group of people.
Okay.
None of which are listening to this at all, are going to have any familiarity with this at all. But I think maybe at least one of you guys, because I think I've talked to you about it before, Mike. Long time ago at Six Flags.
I know you're going to say. I knew before you even said Six Flags, I knew you were going to say it.
They were so
the
good.
Motherfucking
pink things.
Thing.
Blue, they had blue things too, but the pink thing was where it was at.
What is
I don't know if I ever had a blue thing. I only had pink things.
They were so good.
They were great.
I have no idea what they were.
What are you talking about?
Pink things.
Pink things. I don't know. They weren't popsicles. They weren't ice cream. They
come on a stick.
They weren't Jello pudding pops. They weren't.
Right.
And by the way, Jello pudding pops were fucking awesome.
Yeah,
yep, they were good. Thanks a lot, Cosby.
Thanks a lot, fucking Cosby.
We can lose Bill Cosby. We should bring back the pudding pop.
But they were just their own thing, and I don't think
what shape was this in? Like,
and it was a cone. You unwrapped it.
Yep.
And then when you ate it, it was a plastic stick that you were holding onto. But when you ate it, there was a different like character that was this part of the stick that was in the middle there, and you never knew what it was. It was a different one every single time. Like, oh, I got a dragon. Oh, I got a.
So I looked this up, and it looks like they made a big popsicle. I don't know if it's ice cream or if it's like a.
Who knows what it was?
It's like a big. Yeah, it's like a big popsicle. It's like the shape of a cup, of a big cup.
Yeah, it was like a cup. Yeah.
And they pour off the cup. Like, I don't know if it's like a slush or what it is.
No, it wasn't a slush. It was thick.
It's a real consistent. It's a real consistent though. It's not like It's not like chunks of ice or chunks of things in it. It's a homogeneous, delicious thing. I don't know. It's great.
What flavor was this?
Pink.
Well, the pink things were pink. Blue things were blue.
Yeah, that's the flavor. I mean, do you think banana flavor tastes like banana? Or grape's not great.
Oh, this article says it's cotton candy flavored.
Well, it was. I don't like cotton candy, and I did like this. So
yeah, same.
Cotton candy's gross.
Moving on to our arts and culture section. This comes to us from the AV Club. Capitol Records recently signed an AI rapper named FN Meka, which has more than 10 million followers on TikTok, making it the first AI-generated rapper to be signed to a major label. Now, to get my co-hosts up to date, FN Meka...
I already knew about FN Meka.
FN?
Sure, yeah. Fucking Meka.
FN Meka was created by the co-founders of the record label Factory News. They've been developing the AI for years, and they have a number of AI rappers on their label with names like Lil Bitcoin. FN Meka is voiced by a human, but according to its creators, quote, everything else about him, from his lyrics to the chords and tempo underpinning his music, is based on AI. Unfortunately, it turns out that FN Meka is also really racist. An activist, and I'm not going to give you those examples. If you want to know, go look at the TikTok.
No, tell us.
Yeah, what makes it racist?
Why not? It's the news. You're not being racist if you're telling the news, and you're spitting fire when you say it.
I'll give you somebody else's reaction. An activist nonprofit called Industry Black tweeted that FN Meka is in, quote, insult to the black community and our culture, and that it, quote, is a careless abomination and disrespectful to real people. And it suggested that all the money spent on the project, quote, be allocated to charitable organizations that directly support black youth in the arts, unquote, because they'd rather promote black youth in the arts than some piece of software. One of FN Meka's creators tried to explain that the AI was voiced, quote, by a black guy, and that it, quote, it's literally no different from managing a human artist, except that it's digital. And also, he seems to forget that he owns the artist in this case. And finally, he added, I think he's trying to fix the problem, and he just complicates it. He says, quote, I'm the only white person involved. Nevertheless, 10 days after FN Meka was signed, Capitol Records cut ties to FN Meka and sent out a statement offering its, quote, deepest apologies to the black community for our insensitivity in signing this project without asking enough questions about equity and the creative process behind it.
I don't believe that he exists. That I don't believe that the AI exists. I think it's just a guy writing
in a cardboard box.
Generic rap. I mean, they have a guy. What they're saying is like, an AI wrote all these raps.
Right.
That's just like a word generator. Like, it's not. Yeah. And then they get somebody else to rap them. I mean, I don't know. I haven't read any of the raps, but if, unless it's just literally like, we're going to let it rap complete nonsense. I don't know. I need to read the lyrics to know that, because basically it's just saying there's something that spits out copy.
Right.
And I understand that the copy is using, racial rap lingo, and that's not okay. But I just don't even believe that they're even doing that.
Right.
I don't think an AI could do something that would catch on at this point in time. I think at some point AI will get so good that it will be able to sort of algorithmically figure out what subjects and I think it will get good enough that there'll be all kinds of like famous like AI singers and rappers and actors and stuff like that. But I don't think that that's for a ways off.
I'm reading some of the lyrics, and they are like borderline nonsense.
Well, I know there's another recent story about a visual art contest that was won by an AI generated piece of art.
Oh yeah.
And I read into that, and it's not, I don't think it's the type of AI generation that we're thinking of, where it's somebody entered like one single prompt and it was just spat out this answer. It's a series of prompts, so it's guided. So it's almost like AI becomes the like you
instrument.
You can draw in pencil or charcoal or AI, and it's like drawn in AI.
Right.
Yeah.
But all I can think about is like all those poor factory workers that got made fun of in the 80s because they complained about robots coming in the factory and taking their jobs. Everybody made fun of them, but these dipshits.
Yeah.
And here now it's going to be a big man. Hail King Lud, man. We missed our chance back in 15 something. I think that's when he was around.
The Luddites.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Part of art now is the story of the artist,
Right.
Like there's the more tragedy you have in your background as an artist, the more valuable your art is. Right. And at some point too, there may be, the story behind the artist may ultimately go, this is the story behind the AI. It's, this AI was made by this machine at this time with these quote, maybe right. People will, I don't know, these type of the Intel processor, it'll obviously be more than that, but this is an AI made in Germany with an Intel processor and on a Apple IIe with an extra plug-in from Nintendo 64 or whatever. I mean, obviously not those things, but like whatever computer components of that time, and all those things will mean something to people. Like, oh fuck, nobody ever thought to put a Nintendo 64 on there. Ooh, how cool.
Or maybe this AI it's a probe that we launched into space, and then it collided with an alien spacecraft, and it became a different thing, and it was able to produce art.
No, you're thinking of Star Trek 1.
No,
Star Trek movie.
It's some weird thing where it'd be like, it's changed. It's like it forgets pieces of itself. Like it used to be called Voyager, now it's called V'ger.
Yeah,
something like that, right?
The first Star Trek the motion picture,
like a different
and then
thing.
like a bunch of weird art chicks get into it, like a bunch of bald art chicks, like a bunch of hot ass bald chicks that are just
like Mothra's caretakers almost.
But
yeah, totally. And they're fucking just walking around in like little 90s with their little cute fucking pert titties bouncing all over. Like it's Studio 54 or some shit. And like, Vija, I want to go talk to Vija. They're like German broads and stuff.
Is Captain Kirk real into him?
Who?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Oh, William Shatner, I mean.
No, I mean, no, we're talking, no. He's an actor.
You've never...
No.
He's old. Heard of him.
He wrote Tech War.
Old. He probably doesn't care about art. William Shatner just wants art. He just wants paintings of horses. That's all he cares about. He loves horses.
Didn't he drown his wife?
Oh yeah.
There's that theory.
It's not theory. It's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to be sued by William Shatner.
I don't know. He confessed it in Esperanto, I hear.
Mm-hmm. He was the first person to make a murder confession in Esperanto.
So, Mike, are you ready for Get to Know Your Podcast?
Yes, indeed, I am. Get to know your podcast. This will lead into another thing. But first of all, there's a little bit that we kind of cut. We had a long episode last week when Ashley Sharma came on. We talked about medical oddities. And I was going to bring some of this stuff up then, but it was sort of an extended thing, and it'll tie into the actual Get to Know Your podcast. But first of all, let's talk about a couple crazy diseases that you guys, I'm just wondering if you guys have ever heard of. Some of them, I bet you can guess what they are, like persistent sexual arousal syndrome. Can you guess?
you're always sexually aroused.
That's correct, Brian.
Ooh.
Yes.
You're always on the edge of an orgasm, on perpetual brink.
You're not just aroused. You're ready to pop off.
You're ready to pop.
Okay.
The sensations are partially relieved through an orgasm, but may suddenly return within a few hours. It can lead to constant physical pain, stress, and psychological difficulties due to an inability to carry out everyday tasks. Because you're trying to do stuff and you're just like, man, I got to bust.
I feel like, in a way, just that describes being a teenager.
Yeah, not that far off, really.
Yeah.
I do kind of miss that, but I'm also kind of happy about it, too.
That you're not like every 5 minutes, like, I'm going to my room.
Well, I mean, it wasn't so much that because I always had a girl around to relieve me back then.
What was her name again?
Sherilyn.
Did you meet her in the hoe house?
Yeah, I had a season pass to a hoe house.
It would be a season's pass.
Yeah, it was like a season pass to a hoe house.
Hey, you had a discount with a can of Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Well, no, the Dr. Pepper can just got me free lube. There is congenital insensitivity to pain, which it's just you just don't feel pain, which sounds cool, right? Sounds cool, right? You can fight dudes and they can punch you in the face and you just like go, give me some more, motherfucker. And you take 4 hits and they get real scared at you because they're giving it all you got. And you're just like, come on. But you also don't feel, extreme, like hot and cold. So you could like lean on a hot stove and just sit there and go like, somebody cooking hot dogs? And then you're like, oh no, your hand's halfway burned off.
I smell nitrates.
You ever seen Tree Man?
Oh, I have seen Tree Man.
He's like
the guy in Australia.
No, he's a Malaysian guy where he grows all these crazy
like skin growth.
It looks like his hands are turning into trees, but it's essentially like it's these little cuts. Your body just starts replicating like it's like an over stimulation of whatever it is that causes scabs, but it creates like a way harder thing, and it looks like things. There's another thing called Stone Man syndrome, where it's this rare condition where your connective tissues slowly turn into bones, and it's like a gene mutation, and it just makes you all. When you see skeletons of people like that, it looks like it's just. They all look like the font of a metal band. All their it's just cool. Like just crazy. Yeah, it's super cool to have. But here's some kind of weirder, crazier one. Auto-brewery syndrome is where your gut starts to ferment.
Yeah.
Ferment your whatever you've eaten or drank, and it literally makes you drunk all the time.
Yeah,
like it just like food turns into alcohol, and the alcohol goes in your bloodstream, and you're just like drunk all the time.
Yeah,
walking corpse syndrome is a neuropsychiatric disorder where people start to believe that they are either that they're dead or that they have body parts that are missing. Even though they're like, no, I can see my hand here, but I know that it's gone. It doesn't exist. And you just start to believe that you're dead or that your soul's missing or your organs are missing. This is super fun. Foreign accent syndrome. It's like a brain thing where you just start speaking with a foreign accent, which Tom Segura had a joke about it. And it's hilarious. Like the idea of some giant guy from Scotland that gets hit in the head doing something in a coal mine and comes out and is like, starts speaking like with a dainty Chinese woman, I think was his joke or whatever. But it would be funny to start doing that. Alice in Wonderland syndrome. It's also called Todd syndrome. And it's these migraines that distort a person's body image, and it usually happens at night for some reason. You start like looking at people, and their head looks really big to you, or your hands will look big to you.
Oh, wow.
And it's just this kind of crazy thing. Let's see. There's alkaptonuria, which is also known as black urine disease. Can you guess what happens to you there? There's some other ones in here, but the one I wanted to end on, you got like parasitic twin. Pica. We've talked about Pica, where you eat fucking stuff. Human werewolf syndrome. But what I wanted to tie into with Get to Know Your Podcast is a little disease we've probably talked about a little bit, is Hutchinson-Gilford progeria syndrome.
Progeria kids.
Progeria kids.
Oh, man.
That scared us.
That's incredible.
Progeria is a extremely rare condition wherein a person goes through a rapid appearance of aging beginning in childhood. It occurs in 1 in 4 million people. And there's only been 131 cases reported in scientific literature globally since 1886. The symptoms include aged-looking skin, alopecia, which is hair loss, brittle, fragile bones, kidney failure, joint abnormalities, loss of eyesight, loss of fat under the skin. There's no cure for this condition yet. However, in November of 2020, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved a drug called Zokinvy or Lofonovarb. It's a drug that can help reduce the risk of death due to the disease. I'm guessing, like the rest of you, I first became aware of progeria on a TV show called That's Incredible, where they would show people doing all kinds of crazy stuff, like giant jumps, and people that can solve a Rubik's Cube in 2 minutes, or people that have bounced a basketball for days at a time. Essentially, it was kind of a Guinness Book of World Records, but then every once in a while, they would roll out some progeria kids, which wasn't so much That's Incredible. It was more, wow, that's really hard to watch and sad.
Yeah.
And it was not.
We watched it as a family.
Progeria kids were also brought out on a lot of Phil Donahue show, talk shows and stuff like that. Essentially, listeners, it looks like a tiny old person. For some reason, it would make people's noses really, really sharp, no hair, big head, kind of a bit like the classic gray alien, which leads us to a film I think we've talked about for the Aurora Encounter. The Aurora Encounter was a movie made in 1986. And it was set in a place called Aurora, Texas, where and Aurora, Texas is a real place that has a real grave that our very own Mark Ryan went down to visit.
That's right.
I saw the marker where the alien was supposedly buried.
Yeah. There's the marker. Mark went and saw the spot where the alien was buried. And I'm told it glows. Is that right?
I was there during the day, so I wasn't.
Did it seem brighter than other things around it?
It did have an aura about it.
This is good reporting.
When you were there, did it make your urine turn black? Because that could be one of two things. One is alcopenia or whatever, or alien radiation.
Tend to not pee in graveyards. That's just a rule I have, though.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good rule.
You're such a fan of that movie, I Piss on Your Grave.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with the Aurora Encounter?
Well, the Aurora, so in real life, supposedly a UFO crashed down in the 1800s, and they found an alien, and the citizens buried it. I don't know all the details on that, but they made a movie about this Aurora Encounter. It's on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. It stars Jack Elam, who is the guy from Cannonball Run with the wonky eye, who's also been in a ton of other stuff. But the crazy doctor who smells his finger in Cannonball Run. He was also in Once Upon a Time in the West. He plays the town drunk, and it's a little town. There's a bunch of kids that are getting into stuff. And Dottie West, who is a country singer, is probably the other most famous person in the film. But the story is there's an alien that crashes down, and a bunch of kids find it, and they have a fun back and forth relationship where the alien is teaching them about stuff, and then ultimately the kids are trying to team up with the alien and convince everyone in town to hold up some prisms so it will shine a light up into the skies and summon the spaceship to come take this little alien back. And now, when they came to casting, they decided that it's really expensive to have a really good ET, like, this is post ET world, to get like like prosthetics and the practical effects were expensive back then. There's
a whole crew of people to put that together.
Puppeteering. So they thought, you know what looks like an alien is a kid with progeria. And it turned out that this kid, his name was Mickey Hayes. He'd signed up on a Make-A-Wish Foundation type situation. So apparently, I don't know how much, but I do believe that Make-A-Wish actually fronted some of the money for this very low budget film called The Aurora Encounter that you can read a lot of reviews on. And a lot of them, some of them are very negative about the fact that they cast a progeria kid and did very little to change his looks to make him an alien. Maybe a little prosthesis to give him some pointy ears.
Right.
And that's about it. And another thing about having progeria, it whittles your teeth down. So you kind of have sharp teeth, which Mickey had as well. So they cast him in this role, and a lot. But I was going to say a lot of the reviews are like some of them are very much like, wow, this is very exploitative. Some are like, actually, I think this is a great thing because this kid really wanted to be in a movie. But all the reviews agree that the movie is fucking awful. It's just a really, really shitty movie. They all agree too that the tone shift is quite abrupt at the end, where the whole town finally gets together to hold up these prisms that shine a light up to the sky, bringing the spaceship back to take away the precocious alien that is part of the Aurora Encounter. When at the last moment, sheriff shows up, and as the little boy is walking to the spaceship, he shoots him dead.
Oh my God.
So then it's just Jack Elam and the family burying the body in Aurora. Apparently, and I've not watched the movie, but apparently the movie tonally does not prepare you for the fact that this, what's supposed to be a cute little alien that sort of befriends multiple people in the town and has a lot of fun situations, ultimately gets murdered by a Texas sheriff. And then they bury him. It looks like his soul apparently gets shot up into the spaceship.
Oh, I did see somewhere after hearing about this that the Mickey, like, he really wanted to do this.
Yeah, he did really want to do it, and he really liked it. Yeah,
like, and I think he wanted to act in other things as well. But
yeah,
it was just not.
And apparently he was a guy that would go on all these. That's Incredible. He probably was on That's Incredible, but he definitely was on like Donahue and stuff. And I think that his whole thing was trying to be really positive. He apparently was very like a firm. He died when he was 21 years old.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me just read some little quotes about the movie. Frustratingly prosaic, the film is strangely matter-of-fact in detailing the aliens' activities around town, which do not really amount to much. He plays checkers with Charlie, the old drunk played by Jack Elam, most likely a nod to the other famously inebriated alien in E.T. He spies on Irene undressing in a window, a sequence presumably cashing in on Dottie West's reputation as one of country's racier stars. But in a kid's movie, and he befriends a dog, and then he later trades the dog to Jack Elam for Jack Elam's hat. Later scenes flirt with excitement as when the alien intervenes to save little Sue Beth and her friends Ginger and Becky from a collapsing Indian cave, or laser blast the gun from a Texas Ranger, but are ineptly staged or sandwiched between so much pointless chatter the target audience will have likely fallen asleep, just like Mark Bryan. But that is the story. That's the story of the Aurora Encounter. But the interesting, like I said, he's shot by a Texas Ranger because all these reports are going out to the not the mayor, but like the constable of the area. And the constable is played by a Mr. George Spanky McFarland.
Oh, no.
That's right. Full circle. The Little Rascals have made their way into the world of progeria. And so next time we mention the Aurora Encounter or progeria or George Spanky McFarland,
Little Rascals,
maybe you'll know just a little bit more about the podcast.
Wow.
Kevin.
So I think that wraps up another week at the International News Service. Find us across social media at International News Pod. Email us at internationalnewspod@gmail.com. For each new listener that you find for us, we will send you a goodie bag that's nothing but INS branded vibrators. Just DM Mike Wiebe on Twitter. Check out the INS merch store at Redbubble and our Patreon. We'll see you next week.
See you in hell.
Thank you for listening to the International News Service. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. INS, the news you need.